Michaela Maroney was a rising gymnast, hoping to one day make it to the Olympics. She went on to become a gold medalist, but sadly with a price. She was unable to talk about her story against her abuser, Larry Nassar, the team doctor, because of her out-of-court settlement, which included a non-disclosure agreement. According to an ABC News article published in 2017, she was abused from 2009 until 2013. 5 years of abuse, and she was unable to talk about it. In the world of business and economy, I have found through your research that there are ways in order for our legal system to keep things undercover, to stop people from hurting people's reputations or companies. Non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, are just one of the ways used by the legal world to keep these events from getting out. This contract is defined. NDAs are defined as a contract by which one or more companies agree to keep confidential information disclosed. These were originally used to keep employees from trading company secrets, but now are being used more and more to hide sexual abuse allegations and protect predators who only continue this pattern of abuse. The way we need to make sure, what am I trying to say today? Okay. Okay. NDAs should be outlawed because of their power to obstruct justice and allow sexual predators to become repeat offenders. So today, I will first talk about what NDAs are and the different ways they are used. Then we will uncover the ugly truth of how they're being used now more than ever. And finally, we see the hopeful future in how one company is changing its rules and getting rid of NDAs and other legal contracts. Non-disclosure agreements, I started that wrong too. Okay. Non-disclosure agreements are like keeping a secret for a friend, out of respect or a pinky promise, except they take this notion further. NDAs, as stated in Forbes magazine, have two basic formats on March 16, 2016, mutual and not mutual. Mutual meaning both parties are able to disclose confidential information with each other, and non-mutual meaning one power has control over the other party of how much they can tell to anyone, even the other party. Now that means that depending on what type of NDA you sign, it means the other person basically controls you and controls everything you can and cannot say. Sadly, both of these formats have been keeping people from telling their sexual abuse allegation stories. As stated in the Atlantic News article on October 5th, 2017, the New York Times detailed the Harvey Weinstein's alleged decade-long of buying sexual harassment victim silence through non-disclosure agreements. Zelda Perkins, one of Mr. Weinstein's former assistants, broke her 19-year-old NDA by speaking to Financial Times on October 23rd. She said, "I want to publicly break my non-disclosure agreement. Unless I do this, there won't be a debate on how egregious these non-disclosure agreements are and the amount of duress victims are put under. My whole world fell in because I thought the law was there to protect those who abide by it, but I soon found out it had nothing to do with right and wrong and everything to do with money and power. Her words only bring truth to me. The idea that money and power can do so much more than right and wrong. For example, as stated in the aforementioned ABC article, Michaela Maroney would have had to have paid $1,100 or more if she were to have testified against Larry Nassar. Back in 2015, she went to the U.S. Gymnastics to report Nassar for abuse and take him to court to expose him for the monster he is. Instead, she ended up signing a non-disclosure agreement because she needed funding for psychological treatment. After the trauma she endured in his hands, they basically told her, "Take my money and shut up and go get treatment, but never talk about it to anyone." Nassar was able to continue abusing many other Olympic gymnasts because of this. The U.S. Gymnastics is now facing major backlash because of this, as well as other companies. Because of this, many companies are now changing the rules because of the uprising of negativity for NDAs and other legal contracts. According to Wired, on December 19th, 2017, Microsoft announced it will no longer require employees to sign to solve sexual violence through private arbitration. Arbitration is also a technique used to settle things outside of the court and can silence victims the same way NDAs can. Some of these signs are some of the first signs that legal contracts long being used to silence sexual harassment victims are now crumbling under the pressure of movements like #MeToo, which happened back in 2016 and is still going on to this day. According to an article from Politico published in January 2nd, 2018, it stated that mandatory arbitration clauses played a key role in keeping secret multiple sexual harassment settlements that piled up over decades at Fox News and elsewhere. Gretchen Carlson, former Fox and Friends host, settled a complaint against Roger Niles, the late CEO of Fox News, and is now working in Congress to help abolish them. She said that they played a key role in keeping many people's complaints silenced. Their voices were silenced, and now she says we can no longer keep this under wrap. We can no longer pretend that victims don't have a voice. They do. These legal contracts cannot force people to be quiet. We need to open up our eyes and see that these legal contracts long being used to silence survivors actually have negative consequences. Just because we don't want to hurt someone's reputation doesn't mean we can ignore these people who have gone through these horrible things. So today, I talked about what NDAs are and the different ways they are used. Then I talked about the ugly truth. And finally, we saw how one company was changing its rules and how many others should follow. Victims deserve to be acknowledged and heard by everyone in society, even the predators that try to ignore them. Michaela Maroney was able to tell her story in court via a letter. But imagine how many more women could have avoided the pain, the guilt, and the humiliation. Over 200. If she was able to speak out, she could have helped so many other Olympic gymnasts and other people. We need to stop this, because unless we are allowed to speak out against abuse and not allow it to live in the current cover of our legal system, nothing will change. No one will be heard. Everyone will be silenced.